cell phones. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. The Board of Perry County Commissioners is now opening up a public hearing to allow proponents and opponents to testify on the merits and legality of establishing the Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning district and a zoning commission to advise the commission. Everyone will get 3 minutes and only 3 minutes. Everything will be run through the chair. For example, at the start of your testimony, you will say, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, my name is. You will state your first and last name and spell your last name for the record. Then you will state if you are a proponent or an opponent and begin your testimony on your position. I am going to be very strict on the time and procedure because this is not a public comment period. This is a public hearing and we need accurate testimony on a specific issue. Stay on topic, and this is not a question and answer session. The commission will not take questions on the issue at hand. There will be a 30-day written comment period starting now at this hearing. With that, all who want to testify will come to the podium and start out their testimony with the directions I have given. Let's be professional and respectful. Thank you. Who's first?
Mr. Chairman and County Commission, my name is Rob Rukoff, Reukauf. I am an opponent of industrial development in northern Prairie County. I'm a rancher, a landowner, and a businessman that is situated in this zoning area. I am opposing industrial development because it will disrupt agricultural operations. It will devalue my ranch, and it will destroy the farm market roads that lead us into town and businesses and cattle hauling and everything else. Not only that, it will destroy the beauty and serenity of Prairie County. That's my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, my name is Steve Phipps, 2483 Bad Route, live out north where the project will be taking place. I'm an opponent of the project, mainly because of the way the project was put together and the way the project will proceed. I truly believe that this project will not benefit Prairie County one bit, and I do believe that once this project starts, the people that are for the project will truly see what's going to happen here and what these people are going to do. They will never be spoken to again. And I think you, sitting at that table right now, have the power, and you will always have the power. We shouldn't stand in the way of industry, and we've said that before. But let's make sure we don't let them run over the top of us. Just because they're all here and they're writing notes down and they threaten to sue us, we do not have to be afraid of them. They're just another industry. We have the power. 75% of the people spoke. There's ways that we have the power and we can work with them. They can work with us also without threatening us. I'm an opponent, but I would be willing to work with people that do not have to threaten us to work with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
County. I live right next to the NextEra farm north of Angela. I came here to get some insight to it. My house sits several hundred yards from one of these towers. They put it in, our house sits right on our property line, the neighbors built towers. The thing is extremely loud, it sounds like a jet engine going off all the time when it's running, not counting the whoop whoop of the air. I've got another one a half a mile away from me, I can hear it just as loud. I have no peace at my house anymore. You don't want these things. You don't want the lights of it. I get to watch the blinky lights every night. You can't help but look at those lights. If they can figure out how to put something without the lights, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm getting to the point I can almost live with the things. I can't keep my windows open at night because they're too loud to run. I can't sleep at night very well because of the things. They are a huge nuisance. The roads are torn up. There's a lot of traffic. They're a lot better now than when they were building them. The building phase was by far the worst. I do have to say the people that work for NextEra, the hands that are working, I've gotten along really well with them. They're some good people. I haven't had to work with the executives and those types of people, but the hands that work on the towers are good people. I do have to say that, but there's a lot you guys do not want. If you can stop this thing or slow it down or regulate it to some extent, you'll be a lot better off. Thank you very much.
What did you say your last name was?
Mott, M-O-T-T.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Cheryl Morrison, M-O-R-R-I-S-O-N. This is a hearing about whether or not you're an opponent or a proponent for the zoning district. I am an opponent. I think it's going to limit things like the Kelly Bean plant. You're not going to be able to put the filter system on there so that I don't have to dust every darn day. You're not going to be able to have extra tall towers if you have a zoning district up north where the service is bad. And that's how ambulances get there. That's how emergency services get there. I think that if you're an opponent to a certain kind of industry, you're going to be able to tackle that through contracts and other measures. Thank you.
Chair and Commissioners, my name is Dan Pike, P-I-K-E. I am a proponent of the zoning district. First, I want to thank you for dealing with this somewhat contentious issue in a professional manner. I support zoning because it protects our current quality of life and health of people and the environment in the district. It also addresses the many inevitable conflicts of interest that are going to arise from an industrial project that spans hundreds of square miles. One thing that I learned in my time in the corporate world is that there's this mistaken belief that money fixes everything. So I'm going to apply that here. In the case of NextEra, they've stated they don't need subsidies to build this project. I would like them to take a step further and commit to not taking subsidies for this project. In that way, those 77% of the people in the district who oppose this project would not be forced to pay for it for the next 10 years. The second challenge I have for them when it relates to money is that they commit to paying mitigation fees for the wildlife that will be destroyed. They claim there's minimal destruction in there. However, I submitted studies that show otherwise. I submitted a map of Prairie County overlaying the plans of NextEra and they will build right on top of Sharptail Grouse Nest. Sharptail grouse are not endangered, they can legally get away with it. However, if any property owner, any other citizen did that, they would be subject to being stopped, fined, and jailed. So why should NextEra be any different? So, in their case, to solve this problem, money fixes it. My last point is in regard to this strangely addressed letter, Dear Dana, and copy to the county commissioners, that was a threat to sue, to collect evidence. I think what that shows is the precedence that you're gonna deal with in dealing with any conflict of interest with this company. They will out-money and out-lawyer anybody in this county and potentially the county. And so, do we allow it? Or do we just get used to the new boss in Prairie County? Please vote to accept the zoning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Chairman and Commissioners, Tanya Lyles, L-I-L-E-S. Neither here nor there, but I need to know how many people pay my taxes or pay my land payments out there. Nobody's raising their hand. So I don't know why it's okay for them to tell me what I can and cannot do on my own private land. It is private property. And that is a real thing. And nobody should be able to tell us what we can and cannot do. We are also under contract. Would renters be happy if their cabs were under contract and the guy's like, I don't want them. Go find somebody else. No, they wouldn't. Also, my second is how disrespectful this county has been. This whole deal with the wind towers, I'm appalled at some of the comments that I've heard and read from people in this county. We try to teach our kids to be respectful and kind human beings, but some of the people of Prairie County are not representing that, and it makes me sad. You should be ashamed of yourself. It's an agree to disagree type of thing. We can all have civil conversations without being rude and harmful to other people's feelings. I do not think that it would be awful at all to bring some money into our county. My kids drive Bad Rock Road 18 miles twice a day, and it is treacherous right now because we don't have the funds to go play that road. Something needs to give. We need some money in this county, and it would not kill our teachers that have our kids 9 months out of the year to be able to get a little more money in their pocket because they deal with our children. Thank you for your time.
Chairman, committee members, my name is David Kasten, K-A-S-T-E-N. I am a businessman, a landowner. I own several miles of road in this area. I also own one. There's 13 battlefields in Montana. I own one of them that's in the middle of this property that needs to be considered. I stand here today supporting the zoning regulation. I think it's been said before. I've been in front of you several times already. I won't belabor my points. I hope you do the right thing. We have voted. The area has voted 75%. Let's put the zoning in. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, my name is Lisa Kearns, Kearns. I am from Miles City, and I am a proponent of the zoning district. I am a proponent of wind, and I felt the necessity to share my experience because I just recently, about 2 months ago, moved from Sunburst, Montana, and we have the wind farms in our area. And let me tell you my experience that we have faced as a county there. I sat 6 years on the school board. The wind farms were not community-minded, certainly not ones that were willing to help small C schools like we were in. They paid their taxes under protest, absolutely almost killed our school because they ended up settling in court for pennies on the dollar. We had to almost riff our teachers to be able to make up for the shortfall of the taxes that they were not paid. They definitely have the integrity that they say that they do have. As far as many of the people have mentioned the noise and the horizon that has changed with them, but a couple of issues that haven't been brought up is the vibration. And the vibration in our area made it such that the rattlesnakes migrated away from all of those areas, and because they had nowhere to go, they started coming into the towns and into the areas where it's more populated. And so we ended up with a huge rattlesnake problem, and as most people said, they came agitated. Rattlesnakes that are agitated are really not a good thing. And so, anyway, I wanted to share those experiences with you firsthand from us that had the wind farms, didn't feel that we gained the financial gain that we thought it was going to be. Certainly didn't like what it did to the landscape and to the land and the areas. And so I would just like to share that and once again say I'm a proponent of the zoning district. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shorthand's microphone. I apologize. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Forrest Sanderson, Sanderson. I am a private consultant. I have been retained by the petitioners supporting the Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning district as presented to you. 4 quick points, and this is what I've stressed to those landowners. 4 quick points. These regulations are use neutral. We're not targeting any industry, anybody. We're imposing height limits and setbacks. Height limits and setbacks are like good fences between agricultural neighbors. Your cows stay at home, my cows stay at home, and we're both happy people. The big ticket here, again, being use neutral. All property owners have property rights. They cut both ways. You as my neighbor do not have the right to undertake actions that adversely affect me and my right to peaceful occupancy of my property. These regulations are a step to make that happen. The last thing that 75% of the landowners in the district asked me to convey to you is to encourage the commissioners to, quote, do the right thing. Pass the regulations as they were given to you. They are widely supported. I have worked in land use since 1989 all over Montana. That's 36 years. Most land use decisions are made by elected officials on the presumption that 51% or more of the owners within the district are happy. Tonight, you have the luxury of knowing that that number is 75+%. Do the right thing, commissioners. Pass the Big Sheep Mountain District as given. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't catch your first name.
Forrest. Forrest.
F?
F, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Rainy Burns. I have a phone, you'll accept a phone call from Randy Pinochi, who's with the Public Service Commission. Is that acceptable? Randy, can you hear me?
Through the chair.
What's that?
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Say yes. Yes. If you just state, everything you state.
My name is Randall Pinochi. I'm the Public Service Commissioner for District 1 of Montana. I represent this district as your Public Service Commissioner. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
We have to support the vote of the people concerning the Big Sheep Mountain District project, which the people won by over 75% of the popular vote. Doing so, the people of this district have the constitutional right to put any restrictions they see fit on any future projects, not some $100 billion out-of-state company. Montanans will develop more responsibly and certainly be more environmentally friendly to our Montana lands. I'll stand for any questions. Thank Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Dan Fulford, F-U-L-F-O-R-D. I stand in front of you representing the Fulford Family Trust as landowners in Prairie County. I'm also a business owner. I oppose this. I've been a 35-year real estate person across the country. I'm a developer as well as a large property owner. I oppose this project. And I will pass this resolution as the way it is written. And that is, I'm concerned about real estate values that I haven't heard much talk about tonight. Use and enjoyment of properties. Okay, I haven't been a big landowner here for years, but I've been around here for 35 years. I have a lot of friends here that have let me use and enjoy the property over the years. And I'm very afraid of this beautiful, beautiful area turning into a dump ground. I appreciate you taking my comments, and I hope you do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Jeff Patterson, who would also like to speak. So I'll let him introduce himself. Do I need to spell that?
Chair.
Could you spell his last name?
It's Jeffpattison. Okay, Jeff.
Thank you. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak. I am a candidate for public service commission, so I take great interest in what's going on in my district, which is district number 1. That encompasses this whole thing there. I was looking and I talked with some people in the power company today about wind power generation. There have been several days already in the last couple of weeks that there was zero amount of generation per kilowatts produced by wind power. And if you look at the other ones from hydro or coal or gas or whatever, it's quite significant. So if you look at the whole power grid, I think what I'm seeing on there is about 3% of the power comes from wind. Now, if it wasn't subsidized so heavily into the billions, and I mean billions of dollars, there would really be no incentive whatsoever for return on investment for wind power or wind generation. That's part of the power plant or the on the grid part. The other part that as a rancher and a businessman in eastern Montana, the aesthetics of a clean open environment and whatnot is very important to me and a lot of other people that live out here. The height of the wind towers is kind of onerous in a lot of aspects about how big they are and how much of the landscape they take up. I think that should be a big consideration. Now that being said, I'm totally for private property rights. Whatever you feel like you want to do on your property is, you know,
Time's up.
things that I'd like to address is some of the aspects.
Time's up. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
John Killen, Killen, Chair of Commissioners. Did you get this done? Killen.
Thank you.
Okay. I also live in Most of Wind Farm. I'm not a resident of Prairie County, but I think that people need to know, I live right in most of my house, windmill on each side of the house. There's no noise. There's noise, but it's not annoying to me. The lights don't bother me. Uses very little land. We have gravel roads out into our fields. Honestly, I feel it's maybe one of the best things I did, and it may help to keep the third and fourth generation on that ranch. I wrestled my first wrestling match in this gym. I remember what Terry was 50 years ago. It's changed. So, money coming to this area, whether it's north of Miles City or north of Terry, is a good thing. The wind farm completed in my area brings a minimum of $3 million a year to that area. That money is going to be spent somewhere. Now, I know this is about a zoning district, but let's face it, this is about stopping the wind farm, pure and simple. And, you know, this eastern Montana looks to me like we could use all the help we can get. The thing has not bothered me at all. It's been good for our ranch. It doesn't affect the livestock. They lay in the shade of these things. I've seen 2 dead birds. We have 18 towers.
1 minute.
2 dead birds. One was a turkey vulture. One was a Hungarian partridge. We've seen nothing else. And I will guarantee you, I still have rattlesnakes on my ranch. So just wanted to kind of put the record straight about what it's like to live in amongst this thing, and it's one of the better things we've ever done, I believe. I wanted to make one comment and commend this young girl that come up here. There's a young couple trying to buy a farm and stay on it, and we need more of that. We don't need corporate coming in here and taking over our ranch land. Let's keep these young people on these farms, and this will help them immensely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, I have Mr. Tibbs, Ron Tibbs, from Prairie County.
It's RYTLBBTTS as a resident of Prairie County for 70-some years. And when 75% of the people vote on something, it shouldn't be any question that it shouldn't be passed. And so I would definitely support this Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning regulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. My name is Paul Hicks, Hicks. I manage permitting and environmental review for projects for NextEra Energy Resources in the Mountain West, which includes Montana. Tonight you will hear some about the strong economic benefits of projects like Glendyke for the local economies. These positive economics are matched by our commitment to the responsible stewardship of our land and environment. The process of energy development is years in the making and informed by many factors. Factors that include evaluating energy market conditions, the availability of energy resources, access to interconnection. In addition, we balance these factors with consideration of our natural resources, like land, water, wildlife habitat, cultural, and other historic resources. For each of our energy projects, we take considerable steps to ensure the project is permitted and developed in a responsible and environmentally conscious manner. We work with some of the leading industry wildlife biologists, consultants, and environmental experts to inform project design. We study the project area for years and the surrounding areas to determine the potential for sensitive resources for wildlife species, including those protected under the Endangered Species Act. The project area that we speak of has been intensely surveyed since 2019 for raptor nests within 2 miles of the project, for avian use, for greater sage grouse select. We did receive data from Mr. Pike, who spoke earlier, and bats. Surveys will continue through 2026 and are conducted to adhere to U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service guidelines and Montana Fish and Wildlife and Parks guidance. We work to avoid and minimize disturbance to species identified in these surveys. Some of the ways we minimize these impacts is by co-locating infrastructure with existing roads and power lines, by burying collection lines, by siting in low-quality habitat whenever possible, by locating infrastructure away from active nests and wrecks, by limiting surface disturbance and vegetation removal, by scheduling construction outside of seasonal timing restrictions, and by using bird deterrence in our design. Like our Clearwater project, we also work with Montana Sage Grouse Conservation Program to develop a sage grouse mitigation plan. The plan will include compensatory mitigation to improve habitat for sage grouse and other wildlife in the region. We continue to invite feedback and input so that we may address concerns and maximize the project benefits for all stakeholders involved moving forward. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Mr. Commissioner, and Chair, and Commissioners, my name is Jacob Kitson, and while I do not live,
Your last name.
Kitson.
Thank you.
While I do not live in the area that is being discussed this evening for zoning, I am a resident of Prairie County. I elected to move my family here in 2018 because of the vast love and beauty that I have for this state, and for the abundance of natural resources that are deemed constitutional rights to those of us who live here. Preamble to our state constitution says, we the people of Montana are grateful to God for the quiet beauty of our state, the grandeur of our mountains, the vastness of our rolling plains, and desiring to improve the quality of life, equality of opportunity, and to steer the blessing of liberty for this and the future generations you ordain and establish the Constitution. Article 9 of our state constitution talks about environmental and natural resources. While you are not the legislators in Pennsylvania, you also are known to the state constitution. And in our state constitution, part of the securement is for the opportunity and the preservation of our lands and our resources. Not only, as has been mentioned tonight, one of the areas affected would be a battlefield site, but these things that would be affected would be grouse and other conservational things, such as water and resources. Countless things have been submitted to this county board regarding the environmental and long-term damage of said windmills, whether it's NextEra or other organizations that establish and erect them. Not only is the reclamation of the land and the destruction and decommissioning these things a prolonging issue that has lasted and caused irreversible damage to private landowners all throughout this country, it has been an eyesore all the way down what was once the great rolling plains of this nation. I drive every year at the end of the year around May to go and visit my daughter in Oklahoma. What once was a scenic, beautiful drive of the Great Plains that is encapsulated in our national anthem is now an eyesore. It's something that we can no longer take into the grand beauty of our nation, but instead is impeded by things such as non-renewable, really, because these things are not renewable resources. These things are an environmental disaster, an eyesore, and irreparable to the health of not only agricultural, but our environment and the resources that are supposed to be publicly enshrined in our state constitution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
You could take that off if you want to.
Jesse Smallis, landowner, businessman, Prairie County, Boulder. I'd like to say I'm for Big Sheep Mountain project. End of the day, I travel this road, just back here over here, just as much as anybody. Aesthetic view means something. I'm on top of Big Sheep Mountain. I can see John Killings all the way there. And I used to go to Tree Coulee in Garfield County, and we weren't there at that time to see by all kind of signals. So there's a lot of this that needs to be thought of. As landowners, I feel that aesthetic view is worth more than what the next era could ever bring to our community and generations beyond. Every parent is always asked from their kids, I don't have kids, but I always ask mine, how was when you were alive, when you were growing up? Well, it won't be that way. The windmills, well, they weren't there, but they're here now. So, that's what I feel. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Harrington. Last name C-O-L-E, Harrington. I'm a Prairie County landowner, a rancher, Prairie County voter. I would never think this is a unique thing until I met other people that were from out of state. But 4 sides of my extended family, my great-grandparents, all homesteaded in Montana, eastern Montana. 3 branches homesteaded within 40 miles of this county. So they didn't homestead in Prairie County, but our roots are still pretty deep in the center of the state. So some of the concerns I have, first I'll get to, that I support. I am a proponent of the Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning district. I understand not wanting to support the zoning, and if I felt there were any other ways to do this, then maybe that would be something I would consider. I'm firmly in support of landowner rights. But when something like wind towers go up, that's something that potentially is going to affect the neighboring landowners. So if you're doing something on your property that doesn't affect your neighbor, fine by me. But that's not what has been shown in how many other states and how many other countries. This is not new technology. It has been subsidized for, 20-some years.
1 minute.
So I'll just get to, I'm not sure that the setbacks that they're proposed, they're very conservative. I'm not sure they're far enough. In light of some new studies that have come out in some other countries, Sweden, I believe, Australia, they're talking 10 kilometers for human health reasons. I have the paper here by Dr. Ken Matson, PhD. It's also been posted on the Eastern Montana wind page on Facebook if you want to read the article. And one other thing I want to bring up is that the Farm Bureau County Committee, or the Farm Bureau annual meeting, Prairie County annual meeting, we passed resolutions about a month ago. These resolutions will go forward to the state convention. And this is the first resolution. We support decommission bonding of all energy.
Time's up.
If anybody wants
Do you want
to,
to put that in the record and hand it to us?
I could. If you want to look at what the resolutions were, I can get you copies.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's 4 or 5 of them.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, point of information, I was told that the Zoom is not working. I don't know
we're working on it right now.
Okay,
Yep. Thank you.
Commissioners, Chairman, thank you for this opportunity to visit with you tonight. My name is Glenda Ueland, U-E-L-A-N-D. My husband and I live 30 miles north of here. From our home, we can see on Brockwood Road. From our home, we can see the base of Sheep Mountain. You know, it's beautiful. The sun rises, the sun sets, they're gorgeous. The birds, all of it. For that reason alone that I want to talk about tonight, my husband Chris and I support the Sheep Mountain District zoning. And we ask that you would accept it the way it was written. Don't change it. It's all good. Trust me. I think that it's important for people. I came from Western Montana, and I've always heard anybody can love a mountain, but it takes something special to love the prairie. I don't think you have a person in here that would argue with that. We are here because we're tough, and we don't want to see change. And that, my friends, is what we're looking at. So I would encourage you to support this. And you know what? We have 3 commissioners. I'm trying to figure out who our commissioner is that supports the north side. And if we have 75% of the voters in this district that support this, I think that commissioner should support us also. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Kathy Grist, Grist. I am a business owner and I'm a landowner in Prairie County. And I 100% support these regulations. My desire is to keep this area beautiful. That's why I live here. And I just would not want to see any changes that are maybe proposed. So I just ask you please to do the right thing and vote the way 75% of this county has already spoken and said that they want done. So that is what I have to say. And I have a paper here. Can I bring it forward?
You can bring it forward. Thank you.
Chair, Commissioner, my name is Mary Rick, R-A-K-E-S. I've lived here my whole life. Like I said, like nobody else said, I love this city. But I am in complete support of this petition. Yeah. Appreciate mom. Can't talk. Is it okay if I bring this up?
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Megan Kurtz, P-I-R-T-Z. The following letter is from Julia Lewis, a non-participating landowner of the 8 Points Wind development. As we will hear, the project has torn the community apart because of the devastating intrusion of the turbines on non-participating landowners and because of the fire started on one of the turbines. The fire spread fiberglass debris for 2 miles, and people brought bag after bag of fiberglass to the city council meetings in utmost anger and disgust. Massive amounts of fiberglass was in the trees, hayfields, pastures, and riparian areas, causing major environmental catastrophe. One farmer was nearly killed by fiberglass contamination when hanging his safe route. Julia Lewis and many other residents have had their life, property values, and freedom violated. The setbacks in the proposed Big Sheep Mountain development regulations are legal by statute, have been voted in by 75% of the landowners, and should be passed as presented and voted on by the people. This is the letter. What happens when something that seems good on the surface ends up hurting the people around it? That's exactly what's happened here. The deal may have been made between the landowners and the energy company, but the real cost goes far beyond that. It's paid by those of us who live nearby. The impact isn't just felt by the company or the landowner. It's felt by the families who live near the turbines, by the wildlife, and by the land itself. In my own experience, the setback of the turbines from my home is less than 715 yards. The noise, especially on windy nights, can be so loud that it disrupts my sleep. It is a daily reminder that these so-called green projects often overlook the people most affected by them. Before construction began, our area had a strong eagle population, and a study was done to assess the potential impact of those birds. But that study, like the noise analysis, was conducted by the firm hired directly by the same company building the turbines. It is difficult to trust results paid for by those who stand to benefit from the outcome. The real shame of it all is that the wind turbines were made from non-renewable materials, and when you look at how they're produced, transported, and disposed of, it's clear they aren't truly sustainable.
1 minute.
The only reason this industry appears viable is because of heavy taxpayer subsidies. Wind energy has proven to be unreliable and unpredictable, with companies often paid to shut down turbines when too much power is produced. Those costs fall back on consumers, forcing the public to fund an unstable system. If we already know the consequences of these projects, why do we keep supporting them instead of investing in energy sources that are proven to be both reliable and sustainable? I am one of many who have had to bear the hidden costs of these projects. When 3 turbines were installed next to my home in 2022, my family and I were forced to shoulder a burden we never agreed to. When my husband's great-grandfather cleared this land in the late 19th century, his work was difficult but honest. He carried the cost of his labor, but he also reaped the full rewards. For generations, we have lived by the same principle, always considering how our actions would affect our reputation, the environment, and our neighbors. That legacy was shattered when an outside corporation partnered with a few local landowners to choose personal profit over the well-being of their community and surrounding wildlife. The result has been heartbreaking. Our once tight-knit, peaceful farming community has changed completely. The quiet countryside that we love has been replaced by the constant sound and presence of turbines. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, my name is Dave Hudson, HUDS, I'm a resident of Prairie County, and I am totally for this project that was put together on the Sheep Mountain District. And I want to point out that 17 people that actually had signed contracts with the wind company are actually for these regulations. I think that says a whole lot. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, my name is Bree Teske, T-E-S-K-E. I'm reading this letter from Meredith McKinney. She's unable to attend the meeting on October 22nd, so I'm writing to urge you to pass the Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning regulations as presented, particularly the proposed setbacks and height limits for wind energy development. As a county commissioner, your primary responsibility is to preserve the health, safety, and general welfare of Prairie County residents. Passing these proposed regulations fulfills that duty and protects the rights of all landowners in the district. I'm Meredith McKinney, a licensed land specialist with Great Plains Land Company. I work as a land agent throughout eastern Montana with extensive experience in multiple western states. I live in Sydney, and I service the entire eastern Montana region with regular business in Prairie County. As an accredited land consultant through the Realtors Land Institute, a designation held by only the top 1% of land agents nationwide. I've watched how energy developments affect property values and land use in rural communities. The direct relationship between turbine height and property value impact. From my professional experience working with buyers and sellers across Montana, I can tell you unequivocally, the taller the wind turbine, the greater the negative impact on neighboring property values for non-participating landowners. This isn't speculation, it's what I see in the market every day. When industrial scale turbines exceed 199 feet, the impacts multiply. Visual dominance extends for miles. Buyers immediately discount properties within view of 500 to 600 foot structures with red blinking lights that destroy dark skies and view shields. The trespass zoning effect reaches farther. A 650-foot turbine,
1 minute.
shadow, flicker, noise, and visual intrusion can affect properties over a mile away. Yet those landowners receive no compensation for their property value loss. Marketability declines sharply. Properties near tall industrial turbines sit on the market longer and sell for less. Recreational buyers, retirees, and families seeking rural quality of life are primary buyer pools actively avoid these areas. Light pollution from aviation warning lights on structure over 199 feet creates 24/7 visual intrusion that cannot be mitigated, permanently damaging the night sky views that give Montana properties premium value. Why these regulations protect all property rights? The Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning regulations preserve property values and the rights for the entire district.
Time.
Thank you.
Would you like to put that into the record?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Scott Glasscock, GLASSCOCK. I'm from Northwood County. We're in the middle of the wind farm, the next area has over there, and we're a non-participating member, and we have 7 towers that are within a mile of our house, and they're quite noisy. And obviously the red blinking lights are not fun to look at, but they, I think non-participating landowners need property rights too, and I think there needs to be boundaries and certain distances away from non-participating members' houses and fences, because it doesn't just affect the participating landowners, it's also affecting the non-participating landowners. So I would be in favor of you guys to pass some regulations on this Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on, smile, guys. It's not that bad. Anyway, I also care. Thank you so much for this. I'd like to read a letter from a gal that used to live here and she will be returning. Oh, I'm sorry. Norma Peabody. Peabody. Kind of Mr. Peabody. So this is, dear commissioners, I was born and raised in eastern Montana within Prairie County. One of my fondest memories is when I was home for summer break from college. I was looking across our meadow, seeing each one of my family members running a piece of equipment for the hay season. I think of how marred that picture would be with wind towers on the hills in any direction. I know this is seemingly minor reason to not have them, but is it? I have lived in North Dakota 23 years now. It is so sad that the most beautiful areas are cluttered with them. There is a saying, follow the money. I don't know where it leads to, but this I do know. Someone has a lot of money to try to convince the people of their need and moral responsibility to have them. I've gotten ads on my weather app, on their Pandora, and other places. What is right for Prairie County? I believe keeping the hopes of efficient, non-toxic energy out is what is best. I know you have been thoroughly educated on the cons of having wind farms, but you have not responded to products that to protect what we hold so dear. I am trusting and praying you today stand in the gap to ensure the beauty and purity of the skies and land of the home I love. Sincerely, Tanner Peabody Walker. And then I would just like to say, obviously, the most of what has been said today. Please honor the vote of the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Joanna Enright. I'm Terry.
Through the chair.
I'm sorry?
Through the chair. Through the chair.
Through the chair, but I don't understand.
Addressing.
Okay, Mr. Goodwin, okay. My name is Joanna Enright. I'm from Terry. Recently, my friend Shirley Gay came from Bangor, Maine area, and we had to talk about a lot of stuff going on there and here. One of the things we talked about was the wind farm, and she said the following: they have wind turbines there near her. The energy generated and the money does not stay in the area. It gets sent to Massachusetts. Their taxes went up after the construction, and it just went up again another $400. Living in a rural area, they have a farm with livestock. Their electric bills soared over $600 a month. Their heating oil is over $600 a month. So even out east, the wind farms are taking more than they give. She said they are still expanding, and they're going into the wooded areas on people's land, all via dirt roads, made roads where back trails used to be to get from one section to the next. Solar farms are the same thing, she said. There were 2 accidents in the past couple of years. She's an EMT, and she just got recertified. The ambulances were able to get to them, but with much difficulty. Right now, their blades are over 555 feet, but they are building bigger. They started out smaller, but some are over 600 feet, and they want to go to the max height. One injured worker had a wrench of some sort fall from the top of the tower onto his arm, and he nearly lost it. It was severed almost nearly off, but they were able to save it. I am for the regulations, and I think that you need to listen to the people, what they want, not what you think might be good for income or whatever, because as Shirley said, the money is gone, it's not there, and the energy produced is not there. It goes to Massachusetts. Thank you. Another lady I spoke with online, and I referred her to Rick Holden, she said the same thing. The money does not stay, the energy does not stay that they generate, it goes out. And from what I understand, they're going to sell this energy to California. If we're going to be producing it, we should get it. But I don't believe in it, and I don't want them here. I live in town. I'm not out in the rural area. We like to star watch. We went out looking for the meteor shower the other day, and Keith was like, where are all those flashing lights? What are all those flashing lights? And I said, those are the wind towers. He goes, well, that's ridiculous. I said, that's exactly right. So I am in favor of the regulation. I do not want them, and I live in the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Clint Drew, S-N-T-R-U-E. I'm a landowner, businessman, and a voter. I live in the district, and I am in favor of the zoning regulations to preserve our landscape as it is and for future generations, and as we look back at the generations that were previous here, to keep it like it is. And that if you support this and ask you to support the regulations and not overturn the results of the election. That's it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Barb Smalls, S-M-A-L-I-S. I'm a landlord, I'm a taxpayer, I'm a voter, I'm a business owner. I have many concerns that the regulations and this zoning thing do not address, but that's beside the point. What I ask is that you as commissioners support these regulations because they only are designed to protect us, and that's your job. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I'm a proponent of zoning. I support the proposed Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning district regulations. Passed and is voted in by the people. I'm a landowner, business owner, and voter. If you change these regulations or vote them down, you are overturning an election. Thank you. And my last name is G-R-U-E. My first name is Mary Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Mr. Devlin and Commissioners, my name is Catalina, O-N-E-I-L-L. I am a proponent of the Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning regulations. The setbacks and the height limits, in my opinion, are the only neighborly thing to do. They're use neutral, and the majority of us have already voted that way. I have many concerns about the county's the health issues, the safety issues, and the landscape issues, road issues, stockwater well issues, and just ask you to pass them as presented. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and Commission, thank you so much for this evening. My name is Verlaine Christofferson, C-H-R-I-S-T-O-F-F-E-R-S-O-N, and I am a leaseholder of West Nextera. A few years ago, when the oil boom was expected to come to Prairie County, there was never any mention of the negative effects of oil production or zoning. Instead, it was welcomed with open arms, with no consideration for the health and safety of our residents. All we heard was, we need the money. Now here we are, pushing zoning, saying it is for the health and safety of the county, but mainly targeting wind development. Although this may be legal, it is definitely questionable. In my estimation, the proposed zoning area would be hard to regulate with its patchwork of sections in and out of the zoned area. If you make the decision to move ahead with zoning, it would also be necessary to hire a compliance officer to oversee the zoning, which would be an additional cost to the taxpayers, as well as an additional burden and hindrance to any future development in Prairie County. This past Monday, as I was watching CNBC, individuals were on there saying that the U.S. needs to produce significantly more amounts of energy,
over the next few years to meet the needs of our country. They suggested we use all forms of energy production, including wind, solar, nuclear, as well as oil and coal. Somewhere in all of this discussion, we need to consider the rights of those families who signed those leases over 6 years ago for wind development on their property. It shouldn't be up to someone else to decide what we can do to make a living on our property. This may be one of the last opportunities for Prairie County to find some kind of revenue to keep our county strong and moving forward. In closing, it is sometimes not the loudest voices in the room that are right. All voices, no matter how small, deserve a chance to be heard. I encourage you to vote no on the proposed zoning plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman, Commissioners, Allison Mason, Mathiason. I am here to talk about the 800 foot structures that are blueprinted to be around my home on Rural Back Route, where I want to raise my kids. I want them to build into farming, ranching, and maybe no cell phones for this, because we have too much of that, right? And just a beautiful view that only Montana can say that we have anymore. That's why the rest of the U.S. calls us the Big Sky. I am in support of the zoning district because we live out there. We will see them. We will have to deal with the traffic and the construction, the garbage, the bad roads, and everything else that is going to come with these structures besides the eyesore. That is not even including the impacts that have already been discussed to wildlife, to water, and property values. It is very obvious that some of the folks that are signing these contracts do not live out there and will not see them and will not have that impact on their life. If the power produced was for Eastern Montana, this would be a completely different discussion. But this power isn't even for us. It should make you wonder why the infrastructure has to be here, right? The zoning district is not saying that you can't have a tall structure. It's just saying that you need to be neighborly at 199 feet or less. To follow up, my husband and I today trailed our cattle 4 miles on a county road by ourselves, just the 2 of us, and we didn't see one person. I love that. And I want my children to love that too. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, my name is Dennis Pluhar, P-L-U-H-A-R. I live in Garfield County, 4 miles north of Rock Springs. I'm surrounded on 3 sides by 315 wind turbines. Our ranch, we did not sign up. My grandfather and my grandmother, when they homesteaded our ranch, they would have never, ever. I'm just glad that they're not here to see what I have to watch every day. From the sound of the turbines to the lights. Once they're built, you can't take them down. I'm going to go to another issue, property taxes. NextEra told us that our property taxes would go down. My commissioners told us that they would go down. This is a fact. We own land in 3 counties, Custer, Rosebud, and Garfield. Rosebud County taxes went up 4.5%. Custer County's property taxes went up 6.5%. Garfield County's property taxes went up 31%. Be aware. I would urge you as commissioners of your county to support the zoning of Sheep Mountain
1 minute.
project. Like I said, once they're up, you can't take them down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I'm Vincent Morrow, M-A-U-R-O, and I'm an opponent of Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning. I work for Next Generation Energy Resources. Commissioners, I respectfully address you tonight because I believe there's a path to promote the health, safety, and economic welfare of those in Prairie County while also setting the county up for long-term success. There's a way to balance the many interests that have been and will be expressed tonight. And we at Next Energy Resources want to forge that path with you, working together with the county and the residents of Prairie. And one way to do this is to establish a development agreement. Under a development agreement, Prairie County can dictate what will be required from a new development like the Glen Avenue project. The development agreement is legally binding and it holds the project accountable without placing zoning restrictions on everyone in the county. The development agreement is less costly to the county, more targeted than zoning, and does not create a new taxing district. The Commission has a draft of a development agreement for the Glen Avenue project, and it's our hope that we can refine it together. A second option is countywide zoning. Setbacks are necessary for a project like Glen Avenue. We have proposed amendments to the general provisions of the Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning district. These amendments will allow for the Glen Avenue project to proceed while protecting the health, safety, and welfare of Prairie County residents. As originally written, the proposed regulations for the Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning district do not accommodate both the economic welfare and public safety. A prohibition of any structure over 199 feet is incompatible with the requirements of the Glen Avenue project and will jeopardize the project's $1 billion investment in Prairie County, which is estimated to generate $282 million in local revenue, increase the county's taxable value by over 300%. It will create jobs and it will allow landowners to harvest their natural resource with profit, all of which will provide an economic
1 minute.
here in Prairie County. A single year of Glen Avenue project impact fees for Prairie County would double the total amount of appropriations in this year's Prairie County budget. That's additional funding for the county's priorities, from weed management to the fair board, to Prairie seniors, to the terriers, to this very basketball court we stand. Energy development is economic development, and the Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning regulations could jeopardize a generational opportunity in Prairie County without lawful provisions. Finally, I'd like to submit to the Commission this evening letters of support from Prairie County residents, our amendments to the Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning district. I also submit a letter from the Cellular, Telecommunications, and Internet Association warning the heightened setback restrictions set forth by the Big Sheep Mountain Park zoning district would substantially hinder the deployment of wireless infrastructure needed to enhance service coverage and network reliability in Prairie County. Commissioners, I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
What was your first name? Vincent. Thank you. Thank you.
Who would like to be next?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. My name is Dr. Chris Olson, spelled O-L-L-S-O-N. I'm a public health and safety welfare consultant, third-party independent expert for Next Air, and been asked by them to appear before you tonight. I am a opponent to the draft zoning regulations that are before you. What you've heard tonight, and you've heard by the proponents, they were specifically designed so people would not have been project in the county itself. So you may as well just pass a moratorium if that is the case. You have in front of me a Ross PM has previously submitted to you a 50-page report that I prepared for you folks on the science and the engineering behind public health, safety, welfare, and setting the setbacks. You also know that they just provided you this evening. The setbacks that are there are far too excessive. You couldn't build a project anywhere in the country based on those setbacks, let alone the height restriction of 200 feet. You can't buy a winter turbine a modern wind turbine is less than or at 200 feet. I'm not going to go through all the different zoning regulations that are adopted by various states, but suffice it to say there are, whether it's North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Minnesota, New York State, others, they've adopted statewide regulations for setbacks. And you'll see that even the development agreement that is in front of you folks is far in excess of those setbacks in other states. So what Nextera is proposed to you folks in the development agreement is a 1 mile setback for non-participating homes, for example. There's no other project that I've worked on in Needham or other projects right across the U.S. that have such a setback. Yeah, and so what I would urge you though, as commissioners, is follow the science and engineering that we have. There's 76,000 turbines across the United States right now, operating properly within the regulated limits. These limits are certainly designed just to not have wind projects themselves. So if you want to look at zoning, which I don't think you need to do, you can go with your development agreements with the individual companies and help set the regulations yourself. So you can set those regulations with the individual companies through the development agreement. If you are going to look at zoning, I would suggest you look at zoning for the entire county, so it's fair across the entire county. Look at the science and the engineering, all of those numbers. A 1 mile setback is already excessive. 1.1 times tail height, you do it on a multiplier of the turbine height itself. That will guarantee the public health, safety, and welfare of your citizens. With that, thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners.
Thank you.
So I'm Alan Kloss Anderson.
Through the chair,
Mr. Chair and Commissioners. My name is Alan Kloss Anderson, A-N-D-E-R-S-O-N. I am a consultant here for Nextera Energy. I am chair of the Energy Practice Group for the Polstein Law Firm, and I'm a professor at the University of Kansas School of Law. I previously submitted you have a paper on property values. And so this is an issue, we have decades of history on this, and we've studied this. As you'll see, the studies repeatedly confirm there's no impact on property values, period. You look at the states that have done the most generation, whether it be Texas, Kansas, all through the Midwest, including as we come in here in Montana, that continues to repeat itself, that it is not an impact on property rights, increasing property values. You also, from the health and safety perspective, Dr. Olson provided a report that goes through this history. We have decades of looking what happens here and what relates to health and safety. Here in Montana, you have more than 20 years of actually operating projects. We know how to set projects such that they're healthy and safe. And this is not a question of maybe it isn't, it isn't, it is, we know this answer. It is healthy and safe and appropriate for areas. The setbacks and the conditions and development we have far exceed what I see in other places by a large magnitude. These are beyond what would be necessary for health and safety. And the reason that matters is once we know a use is healthy and safe, the issue is we have to remember, when we talk about property rights, it's not that people don't have activity on their property. Farming and ranching, oil and gas, all those things have sound, they have activity, they have smells, they have those things. It's whether or not it's healthy and safe. Because the people who want to use their property in this way, no one's going to come pay the mortgage for those people when someday have a bad year of crops or with livestock. It's important then for commissioners supposed to have a healthy and safe use that they actually protect the property rights of people that want to use their property. In the paper you have there, what you'll see is a report from North Berkeley Laboratory. Not only is it good for the landowners to participate, what they found in that is the communities that do choose to have host projects like this thrive. They have an increase in these rural areas that otherwise, in their comparables, are having a difficult time on revenues and schools and those things. They thrive. People want to live where schools have the funds that they need to, the infrastructure and things they want. And so with that, I think as opposed to patchwork form of zoning, consider the development agreement with statewide zoning such as that way. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Clayton Heights, H-E-I-T-Z, and I'm not a paid spokesman for Nextera, but I'm a fourth generation rancher, live on Big Sheep Mountain Road. My kids will be the fifth generation.
And I'm in favor of the zoning districts because the land will never be the same as when they're done. It just won't be the same. No matter what they tell you, it won't be the same. Thank you. ATITZ.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Cody Tibbetts, Tibbetts. And I am in favor of the zone. I think unlike most people here, that's really hard for me to make that decision. Because while I'm generally supportive of wind, I think in this case, you should pass the zoning. That's because it's abundantly clear to me that it's overwhelmingly the position of people in this county. And while we are a county that is generally supportive of private property rights and against the government telling us what we can do with things, it seems like in this case, that's simply the fact, is that people want it this way. That's hard for me because I'm not a consultant that's leaving early or somebody who's gone. I'm a person who has kids in the school, whose wife is a teacher and a counselor, and sees what it's like for our community to not have a lot of economic activity going to bring people to the school, to bring people to the town, to bring taxpayer money to support the roads and whatnot. So it's really hard for me to say, let's turn our back on this once in a lifetime opportunity for Prairie County, but that's what people want here. And importantly, I think also the reason I say that is because I feel like my observations of the NextEra and my few interactions with them suggest to me that they are not a good party to go into this major operation with. If they want to be a good neighbor, they have had ample opportunity to use available technology to shut the lights off in the Clearwater and have them tied to only turning on what's necessary when aircraft come by. They haven't done that. I just get a bad feeling about NextEra being a partner on this major project. And it's really hard for me to say no to a life-changing opportunity for Prairie County, but that's what people want, and that's my gut feeling of the right thing to do.
Commissioners, Dabney Greenfield, Greenfield. I'd like to address you and tell you that I am a proponent for our zoning. I've got a little skin in the game. My granddad homesteaded just below Sheep Mountain. Everybody that comes to visit us loves it. We take them up on top. We look her over, they're amazed. People from all over the world come to visit us and say, we're amazed. Wow, where can they have a view like this? I want to continue to have a view like this. I think myself and 75% of the landowners that have skin in the game have spoken. We've said we want this zoning as it is written, and we really appreciate it. Back us up. We voted for you. We'd like you to help us out. Thank you.
Chairman, Commissioners, Brock Tibbetts, Tibbetts. I haven't spent a lot of time on this. I haven't done a lot of research on this. So I'm not going to say if I support the zoning or not. I guess that's probably pretty evident. I have done a little traveling lately. I haven't went too far. I went to North Dakota and I went to Lewistown in the last month. And everywhere you look, there's more people. There's more cars on the interstate. There's just more happening. Is that what we want here? I don't think it is personally what I want. I like Terry the way it is. I went to school right here, and it wasn't funded with any windmills. And I got a fine education. So I think that's I think that will continue. I think that we don't need that.
Sure, there's gonna be rough roads, there's gonna be tough times, we'll make it through it. And another thing, I don't think we need to pollute our county and our area, and I mean that too. It will be pollution, there's no doubt, for people in the city to have the power that we produce here. I think this is pretty country, and that's the way we want it. We don't want to be discovered here. That's my opinion. Sure, so let me be great, but we're making it. We're big sky country, not big window country. So, like I said, I haven't done a lot of research, didn't write a big speech. I just thought about it up here, but that's my feelings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Shane Eaton. I have a few props here, okay? Bear with me. Prairie County resident, voter, owner of Eaton Ranch, owner of Eaton Livestock, owner of Clear Creek Cattle Company, affiliated with Eaton Farms and Eaton Land and Cattle. All do business in Prairie County. The thrust of the regulations goes to this board right here that none of the experts will tell you. It has to do with trespass zoning. When you have owner A, you go next to owner B, he externalizes the effects onto owner B without permission, without compensation. The regulations passed by 75% of people in the zoning district take this into consideration when we don't want to externalize the effects of our developments onto our neighbors. Very clear. So, in the setbacks, that one of the gentlemen tonight said we cannot develop that way, which they do develop in Angelo in this space, and they do in Kansas, every other state. You have owner A, owner B, you have your property line right here. This is the effects from this development. This is the effects from this development. Both owners agree to internalize and externalize the effects amongst each other for participating landowners. This spacing, 1,400 feet is 2,800 feet. 15 times the road diameter by John Hopkins University and accepted by industry and in practice. Look at Angela. Look at Wild Plains, Kansas. Right here, an exterior development, and you can see the spacing. Now, we have non-participating landowner, right here, owner B, non-participating, owner A, participating. We have a 2,100 foot setback. Thank you. We have a 2,100 foot setback that internalizes the effects to owner A's land and keeps it off of owner B. The people in the district respect each other. And that is the basis of the setbacks. 8 Points, New York. Nextera wonderfully had a wind turbine burn and for 2 miles for non-participating landowners, devastated the property. Okay? That's a fact. I'll be emailing you articles on that. The height limit is statutorily in your powers, commissioners, to implement it. You can't hardly find a zoning district in Montana that does not have a height limit. We as a community, the Big Sheep Mountain Zoning District, want to develop the way we want to as a community. We do not want a $150 billion company coming in and dictating to us how our community is going to be developed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, my name is Heidi Eaton, E-A-T-O-N, and I am giving testimony in regards to Ryan Bain around the Wild Plains wind development in Kansas. NextEra Energy developed a Wild Plains wind development in Kansas without talking to Mr. Ryan Bain. He has 12 turbines within a mile of his house and 24 within 1.5 miles. Mr. Bain's property values are plummeted because of this trespass zoning by NextEra. His family and animals cannot cope with the noise, flickers, and uneasy feelings they come down with. Big Sheep Mountain District Development Standards take trespass zoning into consideration and the value of property of all landowners, not just those that develop. We do not want Mr. Bain's drug-filled situation to be allowed in the Big Sheep Mountain District. And Shane is showing some videos of what has taken place on his property, and those will be available. They'll be emailed to the commissioners and available to the public. Sorry, you can display them. So, didn't have a TV to be able to display them, but they will be available to you.
This is right outside the residence, yes, fall within a mile. And one more, Mr. Chairman. To demonstrate the effects that this zoning district.
This one of them shows the shadow flicker on his property where his house is, so it'll show the shadow flicker that goes on. And then there's the lights that happen at night. Also the shadow flicker that happens through his window. He has to keep his shades shut, but you can still see the flicker through the shades.
We're going to take a break real quick, not very long. Any more testimony involved at this point?
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, my name is Neva Rathbun. Rathbun is spelled R-A-T-H-B-U-N. I am a homeowner in the town of Cary. Part of my story began in Kansas. I was raised either 5 or 8 miles just off of Interstate 70. And so I have seen a lot of red lights at night when traveling. When my brother took over the land, and it has now been sold, but when he took over the land, he said, no, we don't want the windmills. But around the corner where my grandparents lived, they would have to travel up through their land to get on where they were wanting to put the windmills. And so we said no. One of the reasons why my husband and I like Montana is because of the wide open spaces. We have been to the mountains, have driven up through there, and when you get in that area, a lot of times the trees are so tall, you really cannot see the beauty. And so when I was serving in Garfield County, it was beautiful land. And then I made a couple trips over after they were developing the windmills there. And I have to be honest with you, I was very disappointed to see that. And in fact, on one time coming back from Jordan, actually, I stopped and I took a picture. And when it was developed, there were several windmills just spaced out. But to me, it was ugly. I guess I'm looking at the aesthetics of it. But I like the wide open spaces, and I would really appreciate your support of the Sheep Mountain Park zoning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? No mic on?
We have a testimony from a gentleman, David Hallett, Hallett. He was a non-participating landowner in Rexville, New York, who has a farm next to Nexteris 8.2 wind development. Yeah, I would just.
NextEra Energy has built an industrial wind development project next to a 700-acre farm. At the request of NextEra, our township changed the laws in 2017 to allow NextEra to build a turbine 600 feet from my property line, using 800 feet of my property in the wind project map to meet the 1,400 feet requirement from the turbine to a residence. So now on 300 acres of our property, we have noise, and on the south part of that, we also have shadow flicker. The local law was changed to say that only NextEra only needs to restrict sound and flicker at a residence 1,400 feet away that was existing at the time of the building project. So our woods and our fields are subject to noise and flicker, as well as future homes and buildings with no legal recourse. We know from living next to them that a mile radius from a non-participating landowner property line is barely enough. As an example, the turbine fire we had at the beginning of the project sent fiberglass and other debris in excess of a mile radius from the turbine. The landowner is still cleaning up debris 2 years after the fire. This is all documented on the DPS Matter Master website. The bags of fiberglass are removed from trees and put around on his property. Lights can be seen for miles along with our project. There's another project 15 miles away in Pennsylvania, and those lights are on and blinking all night long. We've been fighting to get the noise reduced at my son's home, which is 3,000 feet away from the one of the turbines. At times, he can hear the turbine inside his home at night while trying to sleep, as well as during the day. We've been 2.5 years trying with no success. The initial response from their land representative was that we would need to get an attorney and sue them. I bring this up because the local law should also include language that puts the attorney fees on NextEra for any non-participating landowner who has negative effects from a nearby project. NextEra is an industrial electrical generating company that needs to make money at all costs. They have lots of money, people to petition government and agencies, and experience in manipulating local government and landowners. In closing, the setbacks, the height requirements, noise levels, safety factors all need to be considered and verified by a third party to ensure that people and their property are protected. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Marshall Pierce, P-I-R-T-Z, local business owner. After listening to everything tonight, you can make all the arguments for the windmills, all the arguments against windmills. It really doesn't matter what they say or they say. We're talking about zoning, and the people quite clearly spoken, they don't want it. They want the zoning. I think it's pretty apparent. You got 75% of people that say they want it. If I was sitting in your seat, I'd feel obligated to listen to them. I have a responsibility to listen to them. Our founding fathers created the country in the belief that people can govern themselves. We tried to create a country, and the government would reflect that. These people know what's best for them. It's not for them to tell you what's best for them. These people are smart, they're educated, and they know what they want. And they've spoken clearly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, my name is Art Tyler, T-Y-L-E-R. I'm an opponent of the zoning. I was hoping you could settle this without having to zone Perry County. We have enough government control already in Perry County with BLM and the state-owned property. This might help bring in a little more revenue to Perry County. So, anyway, I know they're ugly and all that. I've driven out to all these wind farms we have around here. And I never heard any noise, but I don't live next to them. But anyway, I am against zoning Perry County at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Molly Eaton. I'm sorry, I never speak. Okay, Molly?
Okay. Hi, Commissioners. This is Molly Eaton. I'm just calling in tonight about kind of how I feel as Perry County who elected you guys. We have a voice too, and I think that you guys have the priority, and it's your job to leave our county better than when you came in, and leave it better for the future generations who are in county, who have to worry about how are we going to attract tourists, what are we going to do with this land, what are we going to do with these wind towers, and you have to clean them up. That's not your guys' problem right now, but it's going to be ours. And so I think that, it's just in your best interest to really think about the younger generation and what's going to be and what's going to matter for us. Because in the long run, we're going to be here for another 60, 70 years. So this is going to be our burden to carry, and I want to keep Prairie County Big Sky Country. So thank you.
Chairman and Commissioners, I'm Carrie Choate, C-H-O-A-T. I'm 13 years old and I've lived here my whole life. I like the zoning idea because I don't like looking at the blinking red lights every night when I go to bed. And if my neighbors don't want to, they shouldn't have to either. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
County Commissioners, my name is Jared Singleton, S-I-N-G-L-E-T-O-N. I've heard some really elegant testimony on both sides of this issue, and I don't know if I can add much to either side. But there are three major things that I've heard concerns from everybody. One of them, the first is I'd like to challenge NextEra to take the 50% tax rebate off. I think the way it worked at Custer, Garfield, first 5 years at 50% deduct, and then on the 6th year it goes to 40, 30, 20. That is backwards from the impact. So that's the first thing I'd like to challenge NextEra to do, whether this is a win, lose, or draw. The other thing is impact fees. NextEra paid Custer County approximately $6.5 million in impact fees. We live in the impacted zone, and we've had testimony from several others. Not one nickel of impacted money came back to the impacted people. This is not necessarily all NextEra's fault. This is fault of our counties and the greed. But that's the second thing. Impacted people need to be reimbursed. The other thing is we talked about price of energy going up. I would like future projects to have a 25% or whatever deemed necessary retention for the local electric or whatever it is, rather than going out of state. That's one of the biggest bones of retention, that there is no gain for our pain. And those are three fixes. One more, the impact thing can be fixed. If you're within sight of the impact deal, I think when the counties get the impact fees, it should be a 50% deduct back to the landowner. So there's three things that I would certainly like: win, lose, or draw. And there'll always be another NextEra. Always. So energy is coming at us. So let's keep that in mind for future energy things. Let's protect the impacted people. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Travis Joe, Prairie County voter, resident. I just want to submit, everything's been said here, I just want to put up my support for the zoning, the people who voted, to live in a Democratic Republic, if all the vote of the people. Thank you very much. And I submit these as my written comments.
Mr. Chairman, I have Representative Jerry Schillinger on the phone. Go ahead, Jerry.
Say that again.
Mr. Chair, I'm Jerry Schillinger. I live in Sutton, I promised my son Brett and his family in Macomb County. I also represent House District 34 in Montana Legislature. Some people may be wondering why we are here testing the zoning proposal by concerned landowners in Prairie County. The answer is pretty simple, actually. During the 2025 Montana legislative session, several solid pieces of legislation were put forward to put into statute reasonable protections for landowners and residents of counties and towns being impacted by large-scale wind-driven electrical generation. There were virtually no protections for non-participating landowners, especially in regard to setbacks. Setbacks, while important, even when at the level put forth in this zoning proposal, still won't fully mitigate the reduction in property values caused to non-participating landowners. During a meeting in Baker a couple of years ago regarding the Great Plains Connector transmission line, a local realtor stated that structures like that cause ranch property values to be reduced by half. Bonding. What's going to happen when these corporate giants run into trust flooding and decide to abandon these giant towers? Before 15 years, they can walk scot-free. They again oppose having to bond for the reclamation from year one. Back to why we're here. While some very modest statutory changes were made during the 2025 legislative session, serious, meaningful protections were killed. Why? Because the mega corporations that are promoting these massive developments fought the bills tooth and nail, persuading the majority of legislators to accept watered-down, insufficient alternatives. Where's this energy going? 100% out of state. Who is the chief beneficiary of these massive developments? Obscene investors and corporations who obviously are concerned about the environmental or aesthetic impact of these unsightly towers and generators being proposed. No one could have imagined the magnitude of these projects when they signed leases years ago. Out-of-state consumers also benefit from the electricity they don't want to develop in their backyards. Interestingly, when looking at what landowners actually support these projects and oppose this zoning proposal, they are mostly absentee landowners looking for a quick buck. We've been seeing these upstate megacorps advertising the amazing property tax benefits of their proposed projects. Yet the fact is, when they have a chance to beat down the county with abatements, they hold that over revenue-hungry officials. Wind generation facilities also receive preferential property tax treatment even without abatements. They're taxed at.
Jerry, you're on time.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Anthony Von Ruden, V-O-N-R-U-D-E-N. I'm new to the community. My wife and I moved here because we wanted to start our family in Prairie County. We wanted a small town community, so I'm thankful that I live in a place where I have the opportunity to come up here and talk. And I know this is a very contentious situation, and I have friends in the community on both sides of it. So difficult for me to come up here. I feel obligated to come up to provide a little bit different perspective. I am a hunting outfitter and a fishing outfitter operating in Montana for 15 years. I've taken thousands and thousands of clients, predominantly out-of-state, high-income people, to Montana to give them a outdoor experience. Unequivocally, every single one of them is blown away at the beauty of Montana and Prairie County in particular, which I think a lot of people find hard to believe. The beauty that we have and what we have as far as open space is extremely valuable. Companies such as this and everybody else, someone else alluded to earlier, people will come knocking because what we have is valuable. Our open space is valuable, our scenic views, our solitude, the things that we hold dear are valuable. Recreation and agriculture are Montana's #1 and #2 economic drivers, recreation being #1. I can tell you unequivocally, any data that anybody's provided that putting wind towers up will not impact recreational and agricultural values is completely false. It will kill our ability to have any other options moving forward economically. This is a death sentence as far as that goes. Okay, I respect people. I believe that landowners should have the right to do what they want on their own properties. And, unfortunately, this is a situation that impacts all members of the community. I had no prior knowledge to the setbacks and all that stuff coming into it. I came into this meeting with an open mind. I think the setbacks are there to protect the people of this community. It seems overwhelming that people in this community are in support of these setbacks. As commissioners in your county, I feel like it would be injustice to not withhold or uphold the choice that the people in this county made. So with that, I had to come and speak. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Lisa Everett, E-V-E-R-E-T-T. I am a resident of Prairie County. I am a signed participating landowner in the Glendyke Wind Project. I'm a part-time rancher, a former school counselor, a member of the Hospital Foundation, which raises money for our local facility, and I'm someone who's lived my entire life in Montana. I am against the zoning proposition being presented. I'd like to point out a couple of inconsistencies in some of the information that's been presented this evening. The zoning district, for those who don't know, this is what the zoning district looks like for Prairie County. It is only a part of the county. Of the landowners within that county, yes, 76%. 76 landowners is basically what it is. It's about 100 landowners in that design district. 76 signed it. That does not mean we had a vote. That does not mean 76% of the county is in favor. If you look at the number of active registered voters in Prairie County, that's 10% of our county population. This proposal, if you want to do zoning, do it full county-wide. Let's have it work. Let's work together. Let's come up with some kind of agreement instead of being nasty and angry with each other all the time. Working together is what this area is about. A couple other things I'd like to mention is there are 23 current active wind projects in the state of Montana, and there has never been an incident, a catastrophic incident with any of those projects within our state. Every industry has accidents. There's a reason there's a Facebook page called the Bakken Fail of the Day. Okay. Colstrip, everyone's complaining about the power not staying in our state.
1 minute.
Thank you. Colstrip is not even owned by anyone within Montana, and 70% of their power has always gone to the Pacific Northwest. Subsidies. Please, next time you want to talk about the subsidies that NextEra may or may not receive, because President Trump has done a lot of doing away with those subsidies, Take a look at what the farmers and ranchers in Prairie County take in subsidies every year. Private property rights are pretty important for all of us. Let's work for that. Let's try to come together. Instead of being adversarial, let's be neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, Aaron Martinson, AAR, TIA, and SON. We've heard a lot of testimony over the last year, since October 31st, almost a year. We've heard a lot of money. That's not an issue. That's not what we're here today. A lot has came out about how long this contract that has been signed will be. Roughly 50 years. 50 years, I'm going to be 89 years old. I find it very ironic that we're standing in a gym full of generations to come. We have kids running around the lobby right now, in the stands. Those are the ones we need to worry about and protect. Not me. Worry about my kid. It is, from the agricultural side of it, I've heard several people, tons of people, in this community say, we can't get our young kids to come back to this community. What's it going to take? If we don't preserve our community and our environment we live in, these young kids that are going to fill this school tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, why are they going to come back? We've talked about the young kids. We've heard testimony from the young kids. Let's consider the young kids. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, hold on. 1 second. Chairman, Commissioners, Tasha Soley would like to give testimony. Go ahead, Tasha, you're on speaker.
Good evening, this is Tasha Soley. I'm glad to speak to our commissioners and our chairman. My last name is spelled S-O-L-L-E. And I would like to give testimony that we live south of town, a significant amount away from the windmills in Custer County. And as soon as I come up out of my drive, I can see the windmills. You know, sunny days, I can even see the blades spin. And we are probably 50 miles cross country from that. I would like to say that I feel that we need our setbacks and that I am in support of the petition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, Chairman and fellow commissioners. Todd Tibbetts, landowner, voter, and business person in Prairie County. Thank you for taking time to hear our comments. I, as many other people in this room, our families have been here over a century. Numerous families that have come up here and spoken have been here over a century. And that's important. Hopefully, like Mr. Martinson said, we'll be here for another century, which is important. Let's consider this election similar to a regular election that we would have in November coming up next month. And you canvass that election. You come in and count, make sure all the votes are correct, and you say, let's go with it. It looks good. So in this situation, you have a district very similar to an election, and you are going to canvass this election is what the people want. It's similar to a mill levy coming in and people voting for a mill levy of X amount. You don't change the mill levy after the people have voted. Another thing that people have to be aware of is the tax abatement issue. You have been very clear to this developer that you're not going to offer tax abatement. You are not going to offer tax abatement. That doesn't mean that they can't get it from Helena. We have to remember that. You are not going to offer it. You have said that. But we don't know if that's what's going to happen in Helena. Another thing that people have to remember, we live in a cold climate. When these tall structures are below 20 degrees, below zero, they do not operate. And they also require electricity to keep the gearboxes and such warm. So instead of going to a benefit to the grid, when the grid really needs the power when it's cold, they go to a minus because they start running power off the grid to heat the tower, which is a drawback. Another thing is the dark skies that we see that people have talked about, or everybody else that we see at night. That probably won't be there if we have that.
1 minute.
So we need to be cognizant of that. And, we have to look at a lot of noxious weeds in the country. When we get noxious weeds, they don't go away. And so that's important. So I think once again, please support the petition as presented. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sherry, Commissioner, my name is Terry McNall, MC in the I am a Commissioner Assistant and I'm also a resident of Prairie County. And over the last 12 months, I've watched you guys get all the information from both sides and try to decide how to best deal with the situations presented to you. Whether to zone or to do interim zoning or whatever the options were that presented to you, you took careful consideration in what both sides of the aisle said, those with contracts and without contracts, and you thought about everybody's property rights, what should be done and what shouldn't be done. And you've taken steps the best you can with the information that you have and the situation that you're given. But here you're talking about a district that was put together by the petitioners, a group of people within that district that want this to happen. And it wasn't a quick and easy task. It took a lot of effort for them to come up with the signatures and get people to support the regulations that they presented to you. And I think that as commissioners, you need to really consider the fact that within that district, they want this. And put your situation kind of aside. This isn't the whole county. This is a district, and it may affect the whole county. But within this area, they really want this. And so I'm in support of this petition for Big Sheep Park. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. My name is Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fitzpatrick.
Could you do that one more time? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick. I'm Executive Director of Development for the Mountain West Region at NextEra Energy Resources. And again, we've been through this a number of times now. Really appreciate every opportunity to speak to you. Really appreciate the opportunity to hear from the community while we're here. And I'm obviously an opponent of the zoning district. And I'm an opponent because it would highly restrict the generational opportunity that we're proposing in Prairie County. It's an opportunity not only for the county, but also for the participating landowners. And I wanted to clear up a couple different things, some statements that were made throughout the night, of many things that we can speak to when we're talking about the development agreement that's been proposed by NextEra for the Glendive Energy Project. That zoning agreement has setbacks that are more restrictive than what we see in most jurisdictions. We've heard the concerns of the county, and we're proposing setbacks that are more restrictive for the project than what we see in most jurisdictions across the country. I'd also like to point out that the development agreement does include aviation detected lighting system, which would turn off the lights at night unless an aircraft is flying over. So those are, it seems to be a very large concern. I've heard a lot about the red blinking lights. The project that we're proposing in Prairie County, we would be able to turn off those lights unless an aircraft is flying over. The other thing I'd like to speak to briefly is that the comments about the energy not staying in Montana or not enough of the energy potentially staying in Montana. Montana is traditionally a resource export state, whether it's energy, or whether it's other resources that are going out of state. A lot of the energy, most of the energy produced in Montana is leaving the state. A lot of the coal that's produced in Montana is going to the Pacific Rim. It's a resource export state. If this project is exporting its power out of state, the $1 billion investment and all the impact fees and the tax revenue and the jobs are staying in Prairie County. So this is, like I said, just to reiterate, this is a generational opportunity that we're proposing. We're not going to change hearts and minds about how people feel about energy in general, but we do listen to the community when we're putting together and informing the design of this project and the development agreement that we proposed to the county today. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Are we ready to go home?
Renee Kurtz, PIRTC. Thank you for this evening. This is a district. Many counties have districts. They have one district, and this has been voted on by the people in the district. As y'all know. This is the people speaking. I am fourth generation. I have fifth and sixth generation here. I go out to out north. I drove many. I lived with my father. He was a landlord. He drove on many of your properties. We homesteaded out north. We drove a lot of wells. We hope to continue that. And to put up, these solar panel things, but I don't like a real windows. We have a business owner, and we have a steady business with hunters. People who come here, we have agritourism. What we have in this county is ridiculously valuable. And for all businesses, they don't come here to watch lights or the whirring of windows. You go anywhere. I've traveled all over. I was in Idaho when it took over, when the wind took over. That beautiful valley, the St. Croix Valley, was incredible. The only thing that would surpass it in beauty is our prairie. We are Prairie County. It's in our name. That's what we are. It's valuable. Our egg is valuable. Our people are valuable. Our badlands are valuable. The people, I just had 5 hunters come in that didn't draw a tag, and they came here anyway because they love the open spaces.
1 minute.
They love Prairie County. And it doesn't just happen once, it happens a lot. We have the night sky, and we don't have to AI it to make it look beautiful. It is beautiful. So I would just urge the Commission to do the will of the people that have put this district together. And to get along with each other, absolutely. I respect the people that fight for what they believe in, absolutely. But also the neighbors. I was sharing that one neighbor is going to have to endure 3 of the blinking lights. It's 13. Do we not care about those neighbors? These people aren't going to be here again. They don't care about our way of life. We do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. It was a good testimony. We tried to be fair as a board of county commission, make everybody feel that they're welcome to state their opinions and facts. We appreciate you coming tonight and have a safe trip home. Never mind.
Commissioners, thank you. My name is Sam Ford. I'm talking on behalf of my daughter Bonnie Ford.
Spell your last name.
Coon, C-O-O-N, Bonnie Coon. Hello, Commissioners and Chairman. My name is Bonnie Coon, Prairie County resident, voter, and local business owner. I remember growing up and hearing my parents talk about zoning and what a scary thought it could be for people in our line of work and the area we live in. As a member of the younger generation of Prairie County, I think it's important to know we are in support of this zoning at the time. From what I see, the pros of this zoning outweigh the cons. Lastly, I know one point I see next year make a lot and advertise for is a large amount of money coming into our county. As a local business owner who would benefit from and see an increase of income if the wind project continues, I would rather let that money go than to deal with both the short and long-term effects of this wind farm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a safe trip home. Thank you.